Hey listeners, good morning. We're here again on Thursday morning. Welcome to yet another episode of our LinkedIn talk show series, Productivity League, hosted by We360.ai. So, as we always say in our talk show series, Productivity League, our mission is very clear to build a dynamic and a constructive learning community around this vital topic, productivity. The objective is that we all grow together with the collective knowledge and experiences of our entire community. I'm Kunal Sinha, your host, and today we're diving deep into a very interesting and a very hot topic right now, which is strategies for open communication in performance reviews. So, this would be an interesting topic while the appraisal and the performance review season is just here. And so, we all know that in the ever evolving landscape of modern workplaces, performance reviews stand as a very important moment or an element for both employees and employers alike. And they're not just routine assessments. In fact, they're opportunities for growth, development, and mutual understanding. And at the heart of these discussions lies a crucial element, and that is open communication. And this open communication is not just merely about conveying feedback, it's about creating an environment where individuals feel empowered to share their thoughts, receive constructive criticism, and craft a path towards their personal improvement as well as organizational growth. And today we are here to explore why and how open communication is an important element for successful performance evaluation. And today we have some amazing guests with us who bring a wealth of experience around building and managing teams across different industries. And not taking much time, let me quickly introduce you to the amazing speakers for today's event. So, in this episode, I'm privileged to host four amazing people: Bharat, Anushiya, Divyang, and Vaishali. I'll quickly introduce all the speakers and then I'll hand over the mic to them for taking us through their journey and detailed introduction. So, starting with Bharat, he's currently a human resource manager at Zocket. And apart from being an HR, he also possesses super sales experience and is an NLP master practitioner. So, welcome Bharat to our show. Our second guest, Anushiya, she is head of talent acquisition at Royal Enfield. Yes, all the riders out there, you heard it correct, Royal Enfield. Myself being a regular RE rider to the Himalayas, it would be definitely awesome to listen to your experiences, Anushiya. Welcome to the show. Our next guest, Devang, he's the General Manager, Human Resources at Analytics Business Solutions India Private Limited. And he's also visiting faculty where he shares his amazing industry experience with the future leaders of the corporate world. Welcome, Devang, to today's show. And our last guest, Vaishali, is a Human Resources Manager at BeTech Holding, where she wears diverse hats for roles like talent acquisition, employee relations and retention, organizational development, etc. So, welcome all the amazing guests to our today's event. We are privileged to have you all in our show today. And just a heads up, so I would like all of you first to take out 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and take us through your journey and your experience. And then we can get into some specific questions that we have received from our listeners. And I have separate questions for all of you tailored to your specific experience and exposure. I would like to understand from all of you how the same challenges have solutions addressed differently to different teams and industries, and how you have been catering them to different challenges. So I would like to start with you, Bharat. I mean, if you can just take us through your journey and something about yourself.
Hey, thank you so much, Kunal. Thanks once again, V360AI, for this opportunity. Yeah, so my journey is basically I started my career back in 2015, and it was I was just out of college and just took up a job what came my way. Continued to be in sales for about 4.5, 5 years when lockdown hit, and I took a step back to reevaluate what I wanted to do, and then I realized that I wanted to get into human resources, which is when I pursued my master's from Madras School of Social Work in Chennai. And yeah, since then I've been with two companies, Rocket being my second. I worked with Elastic Run previously before this, and now I'm here at Zocket. And apart from this, I've also pursued my, as you said, NLP. So I've completed my business practitioner and master practitioner course, and that's about my journey.
So, Anushya, if we can actually get to listen to your experiences and about your journey.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you, Kunal. Thanks for your very nice introduction about this whole event. And this is the first time I'm actually attending this event for 360i, and thanks for having me here. And thanks to LinkedIn for messing up. So if you guys want to look me up in LinkedIn, my name is Anushiya Rajendran. So I head talent acquisition for Royal Enfield. And Kunal, I'm very glad to know that you're a big RE fan. So about me. So I did my master's in biochemistry from Madras University. Then I worked in a small consultancy for 3 months to 6 months, I guess. And because I did not get any job in biochem or biotech that point in time, like back in 2009, I mean 2009. Sorry. So then, because I worked in a consultancy as a talent acquisition person, something just told me maybe HR is my cup of tea. So I just did my master's in MBA, I mean business administration from UK. So after that, my life took a big U-turn, from biochem to HR. It was a huge transition, but it was a very interesting, journey so far. So from that time, had been a hardcore HR, and I think it complements well also because me, I'm basically a very person who is I'm basically a people person. So I mean, it just complemented my personality and character also. So yeah, I started with. A company called Paragon Events in UK. It was a very small scale event management company. So there I was, recruiter there. I joined there, and then I was in UK for 6 years. Then I moved to this company called Vilasas Web Technologies, where I was handling the human resources. Majority of my role was into TA. So that is where I learned proper TA as a function. Then I started working for Kony, where I was leading talent acquisition for Singapore and APAC. So I was handling all the leadership and the key requirements for APAC, and I was placed in Singapore also. So my hardcore talent acquisition journey started from Kony actually, and then I came back to Chennai, and so I started working for Olam. I don't know if many of you know about Olam. They are basically a agribusiness company. So I was working there for 3 years as head of talent acquisition, supporting all the IT and the non-IT requirements. And then it's been almost going to be a year shortly that I started my journey with Ari, and it has been very interesting and a thrilling ride so far. Ari as a company and also the role, everything has kept me always on toes. So very busy. Always, people here are like they're always excited about things, and whatever you see outside as as the motorcycle, what you see, it's very it's very attractive, it's very cool. So it's the same that gets translated inside the organization also. People are always like on the toes. So it's a very interesting journey so far, and thank you for having me again.
Thanks, Anushiya. So wonderful listening to both of your journey experiences. And before we get into the real topic, like after like Devang and Vaishali's introduction, one very good learning for the young audiences out there listening to this particular show, that you have to be agile, and your success is not just based on what initial education degrees you have done. You both started somewhere else, and then with all your resilience and your hard work, you both are standing at some other place with so high success ratios. So that's a very good learning for the young audience. So yes, Devang, to you, if you can actually listen to some of your experiences and about your wonderful journey.
So yeah, thanks Kunal and team 360 AI. This is Divyang, and good morning to all the listeners, all the co-speakers. I am a small town boy who grew up in Surendranagar, which is in Gujarat, and did my MBA full-time course, and then moved to our own metro city called Ahmedabad. And Ahmedabad is Karma Bhumi from last 16, 17 years. I did my MBA in 2005-7 batch, and it was into HR specialization. And then, yes, I mean, I worked with different companies, different industries, and today I am working with analytics solutions in the capacity of general manager HR. Throughout the years, I've worked in manufacturing in industry, and from last 9 years, I'm into IT and ITES sector. The journey is all roller coaster ride, and yes, I mean, I did my HR analytics certification from IIM Rohtak back in 2018, where this term HR analytics was buzz in the Indian market, though it is quite old term, but I did it from IIM Rohtak. And yes, honored to be part of this discussion today with amazing co-speaker, and looking forward.
Wonderful, Devang. It'll be amazing to listen to your experiences with all your visiting faculty experiences, also on the top of your professional experience so far. So it'll be wonderful to have you in the show. Vaishali, so you're the last one. please go ahead and just let us know about your journey and about yourself.
First of all, I would like to say thanks to We360 for giving me this opportunity and all my co-speakers. I'm sure that this will be a wonderful experience for me. Okay, so about me, well, I'm a BBA graduate. I completed my graduation from the Gujarat University, and then I pursued my career in HR. And after that, I have completed my PG from the Ahmedabad Management Institute, in HR. I started my career with manufacturing industry. I worked with the different manufacturing industry for a while, and then moved into the service industry. I have worked with the Jasdan for over the period of 3 years, where I have learned a lot of HR and strategies and dealing with the complexity of the operations, sales, and everything. Then since last 8 to 9 years, I am into the IT industries. I have served different IT industries, and I got lot of opportunity to learn and excel in different areas of HR. Since the last 3 years, I'm associated with BeTech Holding, and I'm looking after the recruitment as well as audit and trials activities for the across India. That's all about me.
Thanks, Vaishali, for taking us through your wonderful experience and journey. So it'll be definitely amazing to have you and listen to your experiences in today's show. So thanks to all of you to actually briefly introducing about yourself and about your exciting journey. So now let's get into some specific questions that we have received from our listeners. And of course, we all will be excited to understand your insights on all of those specific questions. So just a heads up, I will keep the questions in random order to stay as unbiased as possible by not following certain priorities towards any of the speakers, as well as towards the questions from the community members who have posted these questions. So, Vaishali, since you were the last one to introduce yourself, I would like you to start with the first question. So, the first thing that I just want to understand from you about from your experiences that how do you incorporate this employee self-assessments into the performance evaluation process so that you can encourage two most important things. One is the ownership from the team members, and the second is the accountability.
Okay. Really very important topic nowadays. Many of the IT companies, or you can say not only IT, but the other companies are also facing this kind of issues. When we do a performance evaluation, when we start the performance evaluations, all the employees and the leads are always on the different pages. Usually, they prefer to have you can say that they are not very thorough with their feedback and everything. So first, I would like to say that what I have learned and what we have actually implemented in my organizations, that performance review should be based on the approaches and techniques. The performance review should be transparent and constructive. For me, if we are sharing the transparent feedback to everyone, it will be great impact, and people will be thoroughly participate and will share their feedback with us.
Sure, Vaishali. Thanks. So, Devang, coming to you, and since you have been there into the industry, and plus you're also visiting faculty into the institutions where you keep seeing multiple kind of different scenarios. So, being an industry leader and being also a visiting faculty with all of your mixed experiences, what strategies do you recommend for providing the actionable feedback that helps the employees to grow and develop professionally and also align with the organization goals?
Yes. So I mean, the first one is to what Vaishali said. I'll take it ahead. That be specific about the observed behavior, observed. I mean, the tasks which are aligned and the accomplishment of that task with specific result. Giving that feedback is very important. The second one is definitely the providing constructive suggestions for the improvement. Right. I mean, when we problem statement or when we have provided where they are doing right and when they are doing wrong, where they need to correct and what help company can offer in improving on the weaker parts. That is the again most important part. And third one, what I feel is also to ensure that we provide the positive aspects as well, where they done right things. What I seen throughout the years that we focus more on the improvement parts, but we don't start with the positive outcomes while giving the feedbacks in the appraisal process. So I suggest major three things. Be specific about what you have observed, what the outcomes are, provide constructive suggestions for improvement, and also focus on the positive aspects as well. Yes, that's it from my side.
Sure, Devang. Yeah, so of course that makes sense. Being very open and of course being positive feedbacks definitely helps the team to of course understand and like to understand the expectations from them. So Anushiya, I'm like coming to you, and then since as you were saying that like Ari being excited excited and culture outside is also something that is there inside. So let's talk about the company culture, organization goals, and values. So how do you ensure in such a kind of dynamic culture that the performance reviews are aligned with the organization goals and values, but they should still be meeting the needs of the individual employees as well?
Kunal, yeah, I think it is. See, having goals and also values, it's not like two different things that we can separate it and see. So generally, organization goals should get translated. The achievement of the goal should get translated through the values. So that's how it should be measured actually. So for example, in Kone, if you see, so all the goals that we set for the from the top level to the junior most level, what they do is, so all the measures that we will have, it will be basis the values. So for example, service mindset was one value that we had, where the employees are rated basis their service mindset, how they support, or how they work with their colleagues or with the external customers or with the vendors or whatever. Everywhere the service mindset is, it can be implemented in every place in an organization, right? So that was one area that, that is, I mean, that's not there in RE right now, but then values is one area that uh, I still feel that should get translated in every part of the job. So there are certain ways that we can achieve. See, having a clear goal alignment is very, very important. So you should have the employees understand what are the goals, and also which will get translated into the organizational objectives. So we'll have to align the performance criteria with these goals, and also provide a clarity and direction to the employees so that they know where they are heading towards. Another thing is having a very clear communication. So you should foster a very open dialogue throughout the year, not just only during the performance period, right? So throughout the year, people should talk about what are the values, what are the goals, and what is the organization's overall objectives, so that there'll be regular check-ins, which allows the managers and also the employees to know where are we heading towards, what is the progress happening, what is the challenges that we are facing, and if in case there is a need for realignment of the complete goals, that also can be done. Another thing is, having metrics, proper tailored metrics. So organization will give you a broader framework on where we are heading, but then it is the employees or the managers who will come up with these metrics in terms of, for this role, this is exactly the metrics that we are going to measure, and that should be value based evaluations. So the values that we have in the system is what is very important when you evaluate the person basis their performance. So not only the employees, but also you should embody it in the company's values, like what their work ethics or collaborations or any decision making process. So it should get translated everywhere. And also the IDPs. So IDPs, in many organizations, IDPs are not actually given much focus. But here in RE, we actually give a lot of focus for IDPs. They discuss about career aspirations, the strengths, the area of growth. So if you look at people in RE, they actually stay for a very long time. So the tenure, if you see, the minimum tenure is 5 to 8 years for an employee here on an average. So that is because of the growth they get internally. So they understand what the employees, aspirations are, and they create a career path basis that. So that is the reason people stick on for a very long time, and it also makes the employees feel satisfied, supported, and motivated, so that their personal goals are also achieved, and for the organization is also a win-win, right? So That is one area that I really loved in RE. And another one is a feedback culture. So you should always have a very constructive feedback culture, which actually makes the employees also to open up to their managers and tell, what they feel about the overall 1 year of performance. They can also give a feedback to the managers, not just getting feedback. So you should have a place where you can provide and also receive feedback. So that will actually help you in terms of having a very open and a transparent communication between the manager and also the employees. And here we also do one more thing is continuous learning opportunities. So there's ample learning opportunities that RE provides actually. So your individual career paths and the organization needs both are actually met. So that is one way actually, which so these are all values of the organization. Another one is the flexibility of adaptation. How they uh, in terms of understanding what the employees are expecting, and also where the organization heading towards. How do we actually fit all this together, put all these puzzles together, is what actually makes, as a manager, that is how you should enable the team members, so that we give them that space to grow, and also which will get aligned to the overall goals and values of the organization. So this is what something that happens in RE and also in my previous company. So I'm just sharing a brief about what happened in my previous companies and all, throughout my career, what all different companies I have picked up few things, and that's how I work for my own teams. So yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, Anushiya. And I mean, you mentioned a very, very unique and very important point, which most of the organizations miss out, is like the values of the company also aligns very strongly with the objectives and the goals. I remember in one of our previous shows, one of the HR members, what they used to do an activity in their teams is they used to run, so like they actually created quizzes in their teams, monthly quizzes, where they used to share one quiz every month, which is based around a certain value of that company. So that way, people also remember the values very beautifully. And plus, they also created a culture of like a competition within the team, plus an open communication also amongst the team. So yes, so values is definitely very important, and that's a very good point put up. Plus, you were also like mentioning about a very important point, which is metric. And with that specific point, I'll come to you, Bharat, since what I'm saying is like, how do you measure the effectiveness of your performance review processes, and what steps do you take to continuously improve them?
Okay, I think Kunal, when it comes to measuring the effectiveness and everything, I think the first thing that we have to look at is I think on the lines of what Anushiya said, right, in terms of metrics and in terms of continuous feedback. I think there has to be a culture that needs to be created of continuous feedback in the organization itself. And again, it varies when we look at it, because startups have a very different way of assessing performance reviews. And when we look at established companies, they have a set process in place, right? So I come from an entire startup experience, right? I have not worked in an environment where there is fixed process in place, right? So when it comes to startups, I think what usually happens is because you are making so many changes, and you are lot of things are on the go, right? What happens is that this somewhere plays in the favor of the employees, is that you have a very open culture of communicating feedback. You have a very open culture of having discussions with your immediate managers, or even skip level managers, saying that hey, I think this is where you need to make XYZ improvements. And also they're available for you to give you feedback and help you grow. So I think when you have a culture of these things, somewhere it helps you to take a step ahead and understand yourself, and that again in turn leads to your growth, continuous learning, as mentioned earlier, which will again help you understand where you can lead to in this organization. So I think that is I would speak from the startup experience, because that's my entire experience, and this is how I have been seeing it so far.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. But of course, like things changes very rapidly when you actually move from enterprises to startups, and of course to mid-sized companies. So that's a great insight from a different size of the company and a different phase of the company, which is startups. And with the so much startup culture being aggressively out there in India. So of course, this would definitely help to a lot of people out there. So coming back to you, Devang, and I mean, I'll present one very common kind of challenge to everyone in the team is whenever we talk about performance review, of course, there are two sides to that. One, a person who's actually receiving that feedback, who is an employee, and then the person primarily who is actually giving that feedback is generally a manager. So, how do you ensure that both managers and employees feel comfortable while providing as well as receiving feedback during these performance discussions?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'll start with my experience, recent one. I joined this company recently, and I was having a tea discussion with my founder and CEO. He shared this his experiences about this company. I mean, this company is into market from last almost 17 18 years, and he shared that we are having both the generation working together. We have people who are with us, who started career with us when we were just a startup in 2006, and we have people who have just came out from their college, and they are employed with us. So he was stating this, that being in HR, you have that challenge to ensure that you match up both of them, because those who have started their career become the HOD, and people who have just cleared their masters or graduation, and they are here. So what piece of advice he gave me is that you need to create the environment, or you need that open to listen both of them. So what I take it from him, and I think all of us will agree, that we need to create a culture of openness. We need to create a culture where trust can be implanted, so that they can openly share what they feel. Because this Gen Z, if you don't listen them, and and you might lose them. Early attrition is the biggest challenge for all of us. I'm sure that is in any kind of industry, whether it is into IT or ITES or manufacturing sector. Early attrition is the biggest challenge, and that is just because if we don't listen their issues, if we don't listen their achievements, or we ignore that, that is the major issue. So what I feel is, I mean, we need to create a culture of openness. We need to create a culture where the feedbacks are listened and given, responses on the feedback. Whether it is not always necessary that you need to just listen and solve. Sometimes it happens that you need to listen and clarify their doubts. But giving open feedback about the performances where they are lacking, where they need to correct themselves, providing a clear path, full of empathy, that is what I feel is the right way to address this.
In terms of when we actually talk about performance goals or the individual performance goals and organizational objectives, as I was just asking the same with Anushiya, where she was talking about that goals and values are also very strongly connected. But like when we talk about the individual performance goals, so what strategies have you found effective in linking the individual performance goals with the broader organizational objectives?
See, I would like to tell about recent, incidents happen in our organization, what we have learned and what we have tried to implement that. Uh, that is, I can say cover up in the training modules, right? When any person has joined for the particular work or particular, we hire for some technology prospect and everything. So individual goal is must. Every employee should know about their individual goals, what they are looking forward for the organizations, how they're going to be contributing to organizations, and it should be a measurable and achievable from the both sides, from the organization prospect and for the individual prospect. So we usually give this kind of awareness in the organizations whenever the person join the organization. So we do on quarterly basis, we meet up with the team and we discuss on the goals part, how they're going to be, what level of next planning they have for their work, their project, or about their regarding their team. So this is how we cover up in every quarterly meeting, and we do this kind of performance evaluation is also basis on on these parameters only.
Okay, fine. Thanks, Vaishali. Of course, it resonates to what other speakers have been telling so far. Is like there should be continuous feedback, and there should not be once in a year or once in a blue moon that we are actually talking about this specific feedback. So, of course, it is continuous feedback, continuous like evaluations of how we are actually heading to as a team or as an individual. So, of course, point taken. So, Bharat, coming to you and like. The point that I was talking to Devang, like about being manager and employees, providing and then receiving feedbacks. Then now there's a very common situation, like whenever such kind of things are happening. So of course there are sometimes disagreements, there are some difficult conversations. So as an HR and like since you have been into sales also, so I understand that you might be having like already facing difficult conversations in that phase of your life as well. So, how do you handle difficult conversations or disagreements that arise during such performance evaluations and while managing a constructive and supporting atmosphere as well?
Right. Great question, Kunal. I think one thing that is common between sales and HR in terms of my experience, or even in general, if you look at it, is that both these roles have get to learn a lot of rejection, right? And once you get accustomed to that, I think difficult conversations are just a matter of how you choose to navigate it. Because when it comes to performance reviews, right, you'll see a lot of folks push back in terms of how much appraisal they've been given, or how much if they've not been given a promotion, they push back saying, hey, you know what, why? So I think that's where firstly, I think from start, when you have a culture of sitting down with the team, and sitting down with individuals also, and having honest and open conversations with them, this doesn't add up and pile up at the end of the year when the appraisal or performance review is due. Second thing, I think, is that again, because when so I'm working in a startup where we are at a 0 to 1 scale, right? And almost everybody has accessibility to founders, right? Because of how flat as a structure we are. And so because of that, when you give them appreciation continuously, or you give them recognition at the right time, it's a reality check for them to understand where they are. And maybe if they are not getting the recognition, and again, this is subject to non-bias approach from anybody. I'm not saying in my organization, but I'm saying in any startup, or in any culture, if the management or the senior level or whoever is supposed to give appreciation and recognition has the conscience to exist with non-bias and gives the appreciation or recognition at the right time, right? I think that will also give the employees an understanding of where they truly stand. And third thing is having a fair process itself in place, where you don't give exorbitant percentages or promotions for XYZ reasons, or just because somebody comes from a XYZ college, right? We all know that brand tags work a lot around in a lot of organizations, right? However, if these three things are in place, right, I think the whole context of difficult conversations probably will become will reduce quite a bit. And even after this, if it tends to exist, right, I think as HRs, the first thing that we all as a skill, it exists in us, is being empathetic. Second thing is active listening. And when you just try to understand where they are coming from, or where is the pushback coming from, or the thought process because of which they are giving giving a reason, saying, hey, I think I deserve so much, or this is not fair. I think when you dive deep into what their thought process is, you sort of get an understanding of where the gap might be. Because this, more often than not, these difficult conversations happen only if there is a gap between what has been put out to them versus what they get for what they have done. So I think when there is the gap is filled, you tend to more often than not have end up being in a situation where you have to have difficult conversation. And third thing, I think you always have a set of folks who are unreasonable, and you just have to just be there and hear them, and just give them a real understanding of where improvements need to be done, and keep a track record of where they could have been better. And when you give them those facts, right, I think that is also a sort of a reality check for them to introspect and get an understanding of how they could have done better. So I think this is how I would approach it.
Beautifully articulated, Bharat. And like, I mean, like, yes, it aligns. And again, to what exactly most of these speakers are telling is like continuous feedbacks, proper culture, and the right values. Because it's all about values and cultures that boils down to how you're actually able to manage those specific situations. So thanks for putting that very beautifully and exactly highlighting point by point. So, Anushiya, like, I hope like you have already covered most of it in the last question, but if you still want to add something on the top of it, so I mean, like, any initiatives that you want to discuss about your organization or you as an individual has implemented to create a culture of continuous improvement and learning around performance feedback.
So I think we discussed a lot about this, continuous improvements and learning around feedback, which is like I said, it should be ongoing. So that's what we have here also. And I'm a strong believer of having a regular feedback session with my team. So at least, so once a month, I do a feedback session with my team in terms of, I'll be open to listen to their feedback. And I also do a team feedback session. So if the team has any feedbacks for me, I would actually take it. But when I want to give feedback to my team, I make sure that I block their time separately so that they don't feel uncomfortable in front of their peers or team members, right? So that is like that's become more like a habit for me right now. So I've been doing this for like almost 5 years now. And having continuous improvement in an organization is very, very important. Okay, so it is a very integral part of an organization structure itself. So there are many initiatives that I have done for my team, and there are a lot of things that Ari also does, in terms of having this as a practice in the organization. One is the regular feedbacks, which I said, even the tool is supporting us in terms of having this dialogue box open all through the year. Another is the 360-degree feedback. So 360-degree feedback, it is not just from managers alone. The 360 feedback actually helps for us to give you a 360 view of the employee's performance. We receive the inputs from their peers, from the stakeholders, their direct reports, and also the leaders. And if there are vendors, we take feedback from the vendors also, so external people. So it's like you get a well-rounded a view about a person. It's a very comprehensive approach that we take actually. As I said, this is also part of our actually a strategy that we follow, in RE. So 360-degree feedback is done for almost all the employees, not just for managers. In Kony, we used to do only for the people at managerial role, but here we do it for every employee actually. So it is actually helping us in terms of understanding the person much more better, because I will see only one part of my team member, but when the other people talk about them or they share their view about them, it gives me a complete different perspective of that person itself. So, and also there is a very transparent communication that will facilitate that transparent communication for us, because maybe one person may not have a very good working relationship with the employee, but it cannot be the same with everyone, right? So it gives you like that person, even if they're not doing well, but there will be certain areas they'll be really good at. So this gives us a room to see where else we can fit them. Okay, so that actually helps here. So this is because this is a practice here in RE actually. Another thing is having training and development programs. So there is a lot of investment that goes into training and development here in RE actually. It helps in terms of enhancing the skills, competencies, performance, and everything. And there's a lot of online courses, mentoring workshops happening, seminars happening. So which actually enables the employees, also the managers, in terms of giving that continuous improvement for the employees, right? So it's a culture that they follow here, having a very strong training and learning programs. Another one is, say, PIPs. PIPs is one in my previous companies that we used to look at PIP for people who do not, if you want to get rid of someone, right? So that is how the PIPs are looked at so far, even in the industry. But here it is a completely different approach or the way they look at PIPs. So here people look at it for people who are struggling in that particular role to meet the expectations of that manager or that particular team. So which means there is a room for this person to do well in some other team. Maybe he's not fitting here. So what they do is they put them on PIP, and they also give them a clear a plan from some other areas where their interest actually lies. So that gives the employees a motivation to show that if they're not fitting in this place, they might be fitting in some other place for sure. So that gives the employees, in terms of, it is more like a motivation that we don't treat PIP like a place where the employees feel very low about themselves. So I really like the PIP, how the whole PIP system works in RE actually. And we also have very strong recognition and reward system. Like, we acknowledge there's a lot of spot awards, Trailblazer awards, end of the year awards. So there's a lot of award and reward system that we have here, which actually motivates the employees. And also, it's like a continuous, it encourages the continuous improvements, right? So that we recognize them, which will eventually turn out in terms of employees doing better. And the feedback channels, as I said, we have a very open feedback channel here. Not just in the system is also very, very flexible for that. And also the people here, they it's like a culture here. People have that space, and also they are ready to listen to feedbacks when you share. So I think these are the ways that in RE especially we implement the culture of continuous feedback, and also the learning around the feedback for the performance reviews. So yeah, I know I take a lot of time to
No, that's
give you some answers, but then I just wanted to cover all the aspects of performance discussion, what is happening, that I have gained all through my career. So
no, of
yeah.
course, of course. I mean, it's really helpful. So, Vaishali, to you, I'm like, I mean, this like everyone is actually have been discussing very strongly. Specifically, Anushiya actually mentioned this very strongly right now as well, that how culture and value very important. So, if you can just provide some of your closing statements and your like experiences on this, that how does the organization culture and value influence the approach to performance evaluation and employee development?
Okay. Yes. So Anshu has covered a lot of points already in the things. So I'm just adding a few things that yes, every organizations they have their own cultures, and on the basis of their own cultures, they develop their performance reviews and everything, right? So being in HR, our first role would be to be clear on the cultures and what we are doing currently to deliver that to the new joiners. We do a regular one-on-one session with every team members, because our currently team size is very compact, so where we can afford and we can put the time and we can do this kind of we can develop this kind of cultures. So usually our TLs, we make sure that our all the lead engineers and the managers, they do a regular meetup with their teams, not only in the office. We also encourage our team members to go outside and be and can know to each other by pick one team outings, like be on lunch or dinner. So that is the one way where we can get the evolution from the team as well. And we do a skip level of meeting also regularly when we find it's happening in the organizations. We do that. Skip level meeting is not only with the HR, but we also ask our directors and the founder members to be involved in that, and they can share their feedbacks. They can share their thoughts in that. So we believe in the transparency. So whatever it is happening in the organizations, our co-founders and founders also make sure that our team members should know each and everything about the organization, what's going on, the upcoming plan of the organization, the diversifications and everything. So this how we have developed a healthy culture. And yes, it's open door policy here in the tech holding. So people are free to discuss directly they can skip their levels and they can directly went to the directors and the other members. They can also do a cross team communications as well.
Wonderful, wonderful, Vaishali. So, like, thanks to all of you. I'm like, even with so intense and like so detailed description and experiences and insights from all of you, we're still able to finish it within time, with just 6 minutes out of the time. So, thanks everyone. Here we are towards the close of the show, and it was really an amazing, insightful session. And like, we got to know multiple experiences across diverse industry sizes, of course, right from starting to like ranging from startups to enterprises. So thanks to all the amazing speakers for sparing this precious 1 hour out of their like very busy schedule and making it more valuable for our entire community. And thanks for addressing the questions with so detailed and like pouring down all of your insights. So I'm pretty sure everyone who was a part of this conversation was able to get some real useful, actionable insights, I should say. So all the best with the great work that you all are doing to empower your teams and organizations. It was really lovely speaking to all of you. Looking forward to see you again. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful year ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kunal.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kunal.